Aloha, everyone, and welcome. We are excited to present to you our social branding and some of the things that we are doing to win attention and influence decisions through social ads. My name is Kalen Dudley. I'm the Chief Digital Officer at CJ Advertising. I'm joined with Jennifer Floyd. Jennifer, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey, thanks, Kaylin. I'm Jennifer Floyd, CJ's Chief Creative Officer, and we're excited to talk about how our two teams work together for success.
Awesome. Well, let's get right into it. The biggest question that we're constantly getting is how are lead generation companies getting their leads? This is something that comes up time and time again. And it's something that we've put a lot of time and effort into try to dissecting and reverse engineering. And one of the big things that we are seeing is that lead gen companies are extremely active on social media and going about generating leads through social media ads. The way that they're doing it is kind of twofold. First step is that they are leveraging third-party data that allows them to identify users who are in market looking for an injury lawyer. And so there's a lot of research, a lot of information that we've gone through to help determine and find these audiences on our end. We'll talk more about that as we go through this presentation. The other thing that they're doing is they're utilizing social video assets to convert the leads, convert users into leads. And this is something that we will share so you can kind of see the technique and strategy they're using. And it's really going to be very, very concerning, more or less, would you say, Jennifer?
Yes, because I'll tell you what they're not doing. They are not playing by lawyer advertising rules. They're not
Absolutely
governed
not.
by the same rules that we are, and they are, throwing caution to the wind and using it to their advantage. You can look through these ads. They are promising money, number one. They're promising fast money, number two. They're saying things like, I was barely injured. I got a check the next day. I got a check right away. They told me over the phone how much money I was going to get. They told me on the initial phone call. I didn't have to do anything. My car was barely damaged. I mean, things that we as attorneys and law firms could not say and also would not say. I mean, just false promises, promising everything but the kitchen sink. So it's no wonder that people call because it makes it sound really easy. And just like money's going to fall from the sky, right? Who doesn't want that? So I think one of the challenges for us has been how do we uh, use the pieces that are working, getting people's attention, letting them know that the process can be easy. Like, what things can we do that are compliant?
There are hundreds of them out there. I come across them daily, and they are getting more and more outlandish. So it's definitely something that we're keeping a very, very close eye on. All right. Now, the next thing that we are really looking at is how do we match up the audience where they are in the decision process with the right creative? So what we did on our end, after kind of identifying that we're using third-party data that tells us somebody's in market, we're tying that in with creative, especially video creative, to really draw attention on social channels. How do we really push or create a funnel that allows us to generate leads? And so what we looked at is finding all this great data that CJ has had, just being one of the long-lasting partners in the PI space. We have decades of data to tap into, and we're also looking at how do we leverage that into creating audiences that are in market. And what we would call that is our top of funnel, people that have shown or sent signals to Meta that they are looking for a personal injury attorney. And then from there, what kind of creative do they want to see? How do we get them engaged? Once we know they're engaged, this is where your remarketing really comes into play. Looking at people that have shown some kind of interest in our creative and then hitting them with stronger call to action, something that really drives them to take that step on becoming a lead. And so this is the full funnel architecture that we have built in our campaigns. What does this look like? Well, again, top of funnel, right? We're using or leveraging our data as well as third-party data to identify people who are in market for an attorney. What have they recently searched? What kind of websites are they visiting? Um, are they in market for other things that signal to us that they were recently in a wreck? We then take that and we have Jennifer's team create some amazing videos with law firms. What we're seeing here, and the key to all of this and what we measure success off of, is really how much this is being viewed and consumed by this audience. And so we're targeting a view rate of at least half a video or more. These videos can run anywhere up to, is it about a minute, minute and a half in some cases? So if you're watching half of that video, it signals to us you are very engaged in the content we're sending. I'm going to pass it over to Jennifer so she can explain what kind of dash cam we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. The goal here, as Kaylin said, is we want to stop the scroll. We want to get people's attention. It's okay that they know that we're a law firm, but we want it to look native to the format. We don't want it to be overproduced, and we want it to be something that people would watch anyway. Everyone loves to watch accidents and mishaps, and people love to know who's to blame, right? Like who's at fault. So one of the things that we're doing are what we call dash cam or reaction videos. So what happens there is we take accident clips, something that is local to an attorney's area, and then we have the attorney react to it. And they can talk about things such as who's at fault, what happened, what laws have been broken, who would be responsible for the crash, really kind of breaking it down with their legal expertise. But again, they're not trying to sell you anything at that point. You're just kind of learning something about the process from and building trust with that attorney just because they know and you're watching something that's interesting. So that's really kind of the gist of it.
Lawyer's reaction.
All right, this seems like a pretty innocent day. Whoa, goodness gracious, that Jeep got smoked. Boy, I hope that guy's okay. All right, what you see there is somebody just clearly not paying attention to what they're doing, driving down the road and drives into oncoming traffic. That is the worst of the situation you can imagine, because if one car is going 55 and the other car is going 55, that's a 110-mile-an-hour collision head on. That is dangerous. It doesn't take a genius to know who's at fault in that crash, right? That is clearly somebody not paying attention. Wow. Please be careful. If something like this happens to you, call Dudley DeBosier.
We've got a bunch of different types of accidents and different types of crashes. It really kind of depends on what's more prevalent in someone's market. But then we get the attorney on screen to react to it. And it's been really well received. And the attorneys like doing it. They like sharing their expertise. And it's really worked well in that position.
Awesome. Well, thank you for walking us through that. Let's go ahead and take a look at what happens once somebody's hit or watched 50% of these videos. From there, what we do is then we now have identified that this is an engaged user. This is somebody that is in market for an attorney, has seen our content, and has watched a good portion of that content. And so from there, what we're looking at is how do we hit them with creative that is a little more stronger, has a hard call to action or CTA. And so this is where remarketing for people who have gone to landing pages of our site or viewed our videos comes into play. And what we're looking at is we're trying to create more of a influencer style video, which Jennifer will explain in a moment, and really use that as a way of, I use this firm. I loved them. I think you should too. Third-party verification like that has really been effective on our end as a way to get people to take that step. And then what we measure at this point is signups and cost per case. So when we look at influencer videos, this is what we're talking about. Go ahead and let Jennifer walk us through that.
Yeah, again, we're looking for things that are native to the format. So the types of things that we create use an influencer style video with the same, like comment response or kind of testimonial style, someone talking direct to camera, things that look native to the format, but they're talking about their experience with the law firm.
Okay, real talk. I never thought I'd need a lawyer, but last year my husband was in a car crash. Not his fault, and his car was totaled. I kept wondering, how much is this gonna cost? A friend told me to try Dudley DeBosier. They've helped thousands of people and can get you more money than insurance companies want to pay. It was so easy. We didn't even have to go into the office. We did it all on my phone. And guess what? We ended up getting way more than we thought. Seriously, they handled everything. No money out of pocket, and we walked away knowing we got the best deal. You can check them out at dudleydebosier.com.
Again, not an attorney, hitting you over the head with a hard sell, just someone who looks like you, talks like you, and is really kind of speaking about their experience in a positive way. And again, something that doesn't that stands out enough to be interesting, but doesn't stand out so much that it's screaming lawyer ad. They are, however, talking about the great experience that they had with the firm throughout. So it really kind of taps into that social proof aspect.
Awesome. So the question we always get after sharing all this information is great. Sounds cool. Love it. Will it get me more cases? And if it does, what's the cost per case?
Absolutely.
And so when we looked at some of the data that we've gotten, right, to date, we've launched this and tested it in about 5 to 7 different markets. And what we're seeing is with the kind of initial test budget, we've hit 55 plus cases, and that's continuing to grow. We're seeing the momentum pick up, and we're getting those at 1,800 per one. Great numbers early on. One of the biggest things we are looking at is how do we build and expand from here? How do we scale this up? Our team is very focused on building this into a true lead gen for your firm. And so we are excited to share this information. If you guys have any questions, if you have any comments, thoughts, feedback, just want to talk, ask, will this work for our firm? Please be sure to reach out to our team at any moment in time. Jennifer and myself are always happy to jump on a call, walk you through it, answer any questions you have. Anything else, Jennifer?
No, the only thing that I think is it is low touch on the attorney side. A lot of times creating something new involves a lot of attorney time. We have people do their attorney reactions just in kind of their regular clothes from their office with a cell phone. Again, it does not need to be overproduced. So it's a very low time commitment for a very high yield. And I have not heard anyone who's upset about those numbers. So I think we're on a good track.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us today. We wanted to hop in and just give you a quick update on some of the things we are working on. As I said, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Jennifer, myself, or anyone on the CJ team. Happy to jump on a call and talk through this with you.
Absolutely.
Aloha and a hui hou.